wonderful furniture, all by hand. So if we can support these, these things like that, we have such a unique ability to decorate and be, ourselves.
I have a question. One thing I noticed, because I actually approached both farmers markets at the beginning of the season when I didn't feel that I had enough to really offer like enough variety for people to be happy coming out to the farm. I called the Middletown, and I think I may have left a message, but I didn't hear back. And you know how it is, it's hard to get a hold of people sometimes. But I did speak with Miss Barbara, the lady down there, and the one idea that I, as a farmer, and also living in a Western society where competition is key, that's how people do business. I felt as though with the Middletown market, I wanted to attend, but I was told only bring your eggplant because we have plenty of tomato vendors.
Right.
And the thing is that no farmer should be left behind. Like if I feel that farmers, the more variety you have, the more people are going to come.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that to allow one vendor to offer, if Robert has olive oil and George has olive oil, then they should both be able to bring their olive oil.
Yeah, I mean, and I do allow, if they want to come, and I always try to work it out with the vendors. But if it's a small little group of us,
tough,
and they get very, like basically what they do is they just don't come back. So if I had more customers, and it's difficult because I don't charge the vendors really very much. If I do it all, I usually just do trade. It's at the advertising cost, the flyers, the time and energy. I only work a very limited amount of hours at the plaza, and so I can only give so much. I would love for more of our community to support stuff like what you're doing, and I want to do like live music and stuff like that's fun for everybody to participate in, things to do because there's really not a lot to do around
here.
here.
Concerts on the Green, I think it's called, right?
Right.
I don't live in Hidden Valley, so I attend once in a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have vendors attending that.
Yes.
But for vendors for vegetables, because that would be
and I wanted to do this last one. I had veggie skewers that we were going to barbecue, and as part of their meal plan, because they usually do a barbecue with a big piece of meat and like a little side, and whatever the cost is, I'm not really sure, but I thought it would be nice to have a vegetarian option. Well, I got shut down that night by the vendor, and I was told, oh, you cannot do that. And there's 700 people that come to these, or 1,000. It's very large, and I thought there should be enough for us to share. And she's like, well, I want them to go in and get a veggie burger. Well, it's a big difference of a nice, fresh skewer of vegetables and a veggie burger. So
those are the kind of things I think that need to be worked out because there's some great products out there.
Yeah, exactly. We can make it really fun.
So maybe we can revisit this issue during the panel discussion, because I think one of the goals of tonight is to try to put our collective knowledge and wisdom together to figure out how we can move forward in a way that benefits everyone. And this sounds like a challenging issue to work out. So thank you again. So our next speaker is Channing Rudd, who lives on Eagle Rock up the hill. And I met Channing by accident. I noticed walking up the hill that wine classes, and I ran into his wife by accident one day on my walk and started talking. And I made a point of knocking on his door one day, and he showed me this wonderful vineyard that he has in an olive grove. And I thought, my God, I didn't realize we had all this right here in our community here. Channing's a very interesting fellow, as you'll find out.
Thank you for those kind words, Steve. What I realize is I'm just an old retired guy that has too much time now and started too many projects. I actually teach at 2 colleges, a high school, an art school, and 2 wineries. So I really am a teacher. That's all I am. But I started right here in Berkeley, the 60s. That's actually me there. But what happened is I came from New York and I was blown away by California. I just grew up in an Irish family that didn't drink, and it was kind of boring. Food was came to Berkeley, and of course it was the 60s, but I was a little older. I was in grad school. I didn't really care about the drugs, but we started making beer and wine. Wow. And we were the first really I'm really proud of the fact now that we really got this craft beer thing going. I wish I had taken advantage of it. I had a chance to start a brewery, and I didn't. Damn it. I went into the wine business because I thought that was the way to go. And I still think it is, but wow. Decisions we make. So let's see, how do I press this thing? What do I do here? This guy? Okay. Try the next slide. I do this all the time at the college, but I don't know how to do it here. Well, here we are. In 76, I actually started a real winery. Took 2.5 years to get it bonded. Had been making wine since the 60s in Berkeley with a bunch of guys that you might be familiar with, Davis Bynum. Gosh, there were 8 of us that started wineries at the same time. Not all of us made it. Talking to this. But that's how we started, with this kind of a truck and a few barrels, that type of thing.
Which one are you?
Well, there's only 2 guys there.
Yes.
The guy on the top with the mustache and the hair. Had hair in those days.
It looks like 76.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can see it here. Yeah, so we started right there in Alameda. It wasn't welcomed by the city because the city's a bedroom community. They fought us tooth and nail, and finally they said you have another couple of years and you have to leave. So I started looking around. Luckily, I met Orville Magoon in Alameda. Well, there's a few wines that we made, lots of good wines. But Orville Magoon lived in Lake County, and he also lived in Alameda. And he hired me to make wines for him, but also to teach him about winemaking, and also how to taste wines of the world. So for a year, we tasted all the best wines in the world. He bought everything. It was great for me, and great for Orville. And then I helped make him some test batches of wine for the next few years, designed his labels, worked with marketing with him. And then he got in touch with Earl Reedon. You may remember Earl Reedon, a realtor in Middletown. He actually found some land for me on the top of a mountain. Beautiful place for grapes, terrible place for marketing. You couldn't sell anything 3 miles up a dirt road. So it was Highway 29, Satui has the best thing in the world going, right? Satui's winery, right on the line. So this is what it looked like in those days. Yeah. It's my son there, who's 45 years old now. But we cut all the trees. We planted 15 acres out of 60 acres of land. Here's a nice view. People never see it because we're up on Snelling Peak, way over Middletown. Beautiful little banana belt. I know you're talking about the cold winters. Well, it doesn't get very cold up there. It's beautiful for grapes. You need a nice sheltered climate for grapes. This was too much, though. Too much land, that's for sure. So finally, we said we're coming down into Middletown, and we moved into Middletown. We said we're going to move into Hidden Valley. It's a nice little place to live. And so I designed and started building this place. And this is where we live now. It's been 23 years, whatever it is, a long time. Eventually started a vineyard. I didn't need a vineyard there because I had a vineyard. I had 60 acres of too much land. So in 2005, after a few years after I sold my vineyard in 97, I said, I need a vineyard. I can't live without my vines and everything. So this is my 4th vineyard, really. This is the first one in Lake County, the second one in Lake County. And we started bulldozing and put in a few things the first year, and next year we put in a few more things, moved a terrible amount of rocks. That one broke a couple of iron bars, also my shoulders. I've never been the same since. Lake County is a great place for grapes, my gosh. I've been working in Napa for years for Robert Mondavi and other wineries. I've been at Mondavi for 10 years, 11 years. And you can't beat Lake County for grapes. It's finally getting discovered. It's been a long time. Orville and I tried to get it moving years ago. It just wouldn't move, not as quickly as we wanted to. The big problem is transportation into this county. It's horrible. You have to go over that mountain. We can't stand it. Blast a damn tunnel, right? That's what we have to do. And it's never going to happen. But maybe through Butts Canyon or something. Anyway, what what's better for Lake County is less disease. It's very dry up here. You don't realize it, but we don't have I never saw mildew until 2011 when I lost everything. But mildew doesn't seem to exist in hot climates. 105 degrees. We hit once in a while in the summer, right? Everybody does in Lake County, but we didn't do it for a few years and we all suffered. At Mondavi, we lost 25% of our grapes. I lost 100% of my grapes in 2011, too much mildew. So mildew is serious. Hopefully climate change won't go in that direction, too much rain or something, but we don't want it in the summer. And so that's the great advantage we have in Lake County. It's a wonderful place to grow grapes. 2007, we got our first vintage. This is what it looks like now. I have 1,000 vines, roughly, at least 34 varieties. So it isn't a production vineyard, obviously. You can't make a living with 34 varieties of grapes. But it's fun, you know. I'm just having a lot of fun. So when we make the wines, we're having a blast. Every row is a different grape. We can make different blends. So this year we made 5 or 6 blends. We make a French blend of all the varieties, a Rhone Valley blend, Italian blend, a Spanish blend. If that isn't enough, we start picking olives soon. So it's a great place for grapes. So a few more shots. So I also make wine up in Lower Lake for another winery as a winemaker. So retirement isn't what it's taken for. I think I'm working harder than I ever have in my life. But it's fun. What else is there, right? So I think that's the last slide, isn't it? So any quick questions? Otherwise, we're going to...
Did you bring any?
To Channing's and Mary's house on Eagle Rock, and it's 987-2020.
I have an easy phone number. I have too much wine in my life and not enough time to drink it. But my daughter has a solution. She says, when you drop dead, Dad, I'm going to sell it all on eBay. So that's my legacy, I guess.
You sell your wine?
I used to as a winery. I was a winery officially from 76 to 97. But I don't have a bond anymore, so I can't sell it. But I can give it away. What the classes do is we make the wine and we split it up. So that's part of the class. It's kind of nice. So if you like making wine or something, or you know somebody in the class, you'll get it. In 85, I won the only gold medal at the Lake County Fair, beating all the commercial wineries. Of course, I was a commercial winery, with Orville Magoon's grapes. So he didn't like that too much. But that's life. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, I think that Julie Hoskins of Chic Le Chef also has some synergy with you as well. It's too bad she wasn't here. But Holly, our next speaker, is also someone who complements and synergizes with what Channing just said. I met Holly, I think, virtually first through Facebook, and she's been a sort of a bundle of energy in many ways. And she does all sorts of great things with wine and food and everything else. So, Holly, why don't you come up and tell us what you do and what you're planning on doing and for the future of food and wine in Lake County.
It's not open. It's not open. Steve won't let me drink.
This is the HVLA. It's not on full.
I know. I'm just teasing you. I can go another hour or two. Hello. I'm Holly Evans-White. I sell wine. That's all I do, and that's all I have done forever. Hi, Judy. I had a whole speech plan, and I dialed it down to 5 minutes. I spent my entire day dialing my speech down to 5 minutes because I thought we were going to have like a timer, like on Jeopardy or something. So never mind all that. Now what I want to do is I want to riff on everything I've heard. Bartlett pears and Blue Lake beans. Who knew that? I mean, that's awesome. That's very exciting. And the gal back here, I don't even know where your farm is. Is the farm the one that's like when you come out Hartman there?
Yeah, right across the road there.
Very cool. That's really exciting. And then Ken Porter's gal. That's really exciting. And where's the wine guy? There he is. Wine guy. Hey. what I was going to talk about, and I dialed it down to 5 minutes, is I was going to talk about my friend Joel Peterson, another guy in 1976 who started a winery. And I have a hard hat. And so I kind of figured out what somebody who talks as much as I do, and I talk a lot, is going to talk about. I have lived up here 8.5 years with my family, and I came here in part to open a restaurant. I'm a restaurateur, and I sell wine. And I have worked at famous wineries like Ravenswood. And Joel Peterson and Reed Foster hired me in 1992 because they couldn't quite figure out how to sell their wine direct to consumer. And what the problem is I learned from Reed Foster, who was Ravenswood's CEO, is I learned from him that there's 5 prongs in business. You have to have a good product. If you have a good product, you're halfway there. I am a slacker. There's a few people here who know me, and they know I'm a slacker. I'm a big slacker. All I have to do is have the right product, and I can sell it to anybody. So what I do is I make sure I work at wineries that are good, where the wine's good. I am so spoiled, let me tell you. So, I work at Ravenswood. Joel and Reed hire me because they had had their tasting room open for a year and they couldn't sell the wine because they had a ding-dong running their tasting room. She was rude to people. And you can't be rude to people. I mean, you can be rude to people when you're in a vacuum. You know, up here we have a little vacuum situation, so we have some businesses that are getting away with murder because they're operating in a vacuum. However, I ain't going to go there. I'm just telling you that we know that that's the situation. So what I know is that I was hired by Joel and Reed in 1992. I'd already been in the wine business to be nice to people. It's not hard. The wine was good. It was easy. So you got some good wine. You open up the door and you're nice to people. So you've got the good product. You've got the consumers. You've got a consistent product. No wishy-washy. Nobody likes wishy-washy, right? If you're wishy-washy, you keep changing your business plan, your business model, nobody's going to trust you anymore, nobody's going to listen to you anymore, and we're not going to go to those businesses anymore. So you got those 3 things. The 4th thing that you absolutely have to have is you have to communicate. You've got to let people know you're there. If you don't tell people you're there, then you can't sell them anything. So you have to do that. And you have to have great customer service. So that's why Joel and Reed hired me, and I worked for them for 10 years. So when I started at Ravenswood, we made 2,000 cases, and when I left, we were making 440,000 cases of wine. We sold Ravenswood for a record $148 million in 2001, and I left, and I opened a restaurant. I opened a restaurant on the dark side of the moon, in Glen Ellen, not on the main drag. So, for anybody here who actually thinks that you have to have location, you're wrong. It's not true. Ravenswood was a funny little place up Garrick Road in Sonoma. It wasn't on the main drag. I brought Chantel. Where's my guy? He said it's a Tui. Our friends, it's a Tui. In 2000, what year was that? Oh man, time flies. I think it was in 2007, Daryl Satui offered me a 6-figure job to see if I could bust his sales up beyond $37 million a year, direct to consumer. I wouldn't take the job because I can't drink the wine. I'm very spoiled. Instead, I took a job with Kathy Corzin. Kathy Corzin is across the street within walking distance of Daryl Satui's place. And these wines are rock stars. She's making one of the best wines in the United States. Awesome. This bottle's $80. I can sell it all day long. No problem. Because it's a great product, and it has an audience, and there is an audience for this wine. And this lady's consistent. She's been making wine for 38 years. She's very consistent. The problem that Kathy Corzin had, and the reason that Kathy Corzin hired me, was because she did not know how to communicate her presence. She's across the street from